folks. Welcome to Talking Eds. My name's EJ Davis. It's the 29th of June 2014. You're getting something of a behind the scenes here at FSOG, and part of it is due to we're at another Rambling Ed episode. Again, we've always said that real life comes in the way, and unfortunately for our editor Greg, real life has come in the way again today. So what we're going to do is something a little bit different. I'm going to give you a quick behind the scenes of how we record Talking Eds. This is my studio, otherwise known as my spare bedroom. I'm talking into my computer as I would ordinarily on a Sunday morning be talking to Greg, Zalax, Liam, Pete, anybody who's come to join us on the cast. Normally I would record into Skype. I'm not doing that today. I'm recording straight into QuickTime because this is our first experiment into a video cast, a vodcast, if you will. I want to ask very quickly before I get into geek news for a couple of things. Firstly, I'd like some honest feedback on the podcast. Whether it's good or it's bad, I'd like some presentation style notes. I'd like some notes on delivery. I'd like some notes on content. I'd like some notes on how it's put together. Do you like the music? Do you like the stages we've been putting in? Do you like the formats? Anything. I'd like some honest appraisal. We're up to around about 60 subscribers. I'm not sure how many listeners on a regular basis. But I'd like to know if people are sticking around, why are they sticking around, and if they're not sticking around, why are they leaving? Is there something I'm doing that's annoying? Is there a repetitive phrase I'm using? And the same with Greg, the same with any of our contributors. So please get in touch on that. Secondly, I'd like to know whether this vodcast format works too. So again, some honest feedback on that if you would. And that can come straight to the email address podcast@50shadesofgeek.org. Failing that, you can always leave us a comment on the website. They'll get viewed round about once every week. But as honest and open feedback as you can get. We're doing this largely because Greg likes the sound of his own voice, but also because we want to get better. Okay? So, into the geek news very quick. Now, if my eye line diverts from you, it's because I'm reading a news story from my notes. So, we will start with the Wachowskis are set to develop a Netflix show, which is called Sense8, and they've hired, or will be hiring, Lost alumnus Naveen Andrews. Not sure what to make of that, because, you know, I like to keep these things until I've seen them. Rosario Dawson joins Daredevil. It's good. Like Rosario Dawson, she can be very funny, she can be very dry, she can be very dramatic, and it's good to see her back on the screen in whatever way. She has a nice smile. Okay, what else have we got? Ooh, look at that. Very little happening in the world this week. It's almost like something big happened recently. Shane Black could be headed for the new Predator, so that would be a Predator reboot. After seeing Predators, which wasn't great but wasn't terrible, it was certainly nowhere near as bad as Alien vs Predator or Alien vs Predator Requiem. It'll be interesting to see Shane Black's take now. This will be his next directorial outing since Iron Man 3, which divided fans. I loved it, as you'll remember. So that'll be good, I reckon. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. La 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 la. New Hunger Games Mockingjay video has launched. I have ever, in a fit of pique, not watched it. Okay. Do I need to explain why at this point? No. John Turturro may be planning to revisit Jesus Quintana in a Big Lebowski spin-off. I think I had enough of Jesus Quintana. He was funny, he was good. Not really sure I want a spin-off featuring more of him, because that would just ruin the mystery of the character. Where should we go? We shall go to Ninja Turtles trailer and character posters have been released on the world. I wasn't that bothered when they said a Ninja Turtles movie was going to be redone, because I wasn't a massive fan of the Ninja Turtles. I watched the first film. I don't think it was very good. That Michael Bay's doing it turns me off even more. That Megan Fox is in it turns me off even more. So I'm really just meh. Another TV spot for Guardians of the Galaxy, and from watching Mr. Abnett's Twitter feed this week, he's been promoting his movie prequel book, comic book. Again, it's something that I'm just leaving to one side until I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I'll digest all of this together. Yeah. Moving on, Scoot McNairy. You might not know the name. It's fine. It's a great name, Scoot McNairy. Love it. Scoot McNairy has joined Batman vs Superman, and it's not the only Batman v Superman Justice League type stuff that's been announced recently. Aquaman, I think, has been cast, and it's going to be Jason Momoa. Scoot McNairy is an interesting choice. He does good drama. Recently saw Killing Them Softly, in which he was very good. He was in Argo, which was also extremely good. Played a very closed-in, tightened-up character. And he also played the reporter in All Hail the King, which any regular listener to this cast will know is my favourite of the Marvel one-shots. So putting him in, I think, will be I don't know, interesting direction to take it. Okay, so the two big stories of this week, really, that I'll go into a little bit more detail. Firstly, Robert Orsi's announced a few more details about Star Trek 3. Now, at the end of Star Trek 2, Star Trek Into Darkness, it was very much about getting the band together and going out on the 5-year mission, which they did towards the end of the first and the second films. Bit strange, I grant you, but there it is. Now, this looks to be about while they're on the 5-year mission. So this is extending, I think, that timeline and coming up with certain larger scale stories that could be told, because they couldn't all be the nice 45, 50-minute wrap-up TV, filling commercials here kind of stuff. Not every story is going to be like that, with the green dancing thing and the guys with half black, half white faces and tribbles. So this could be interesting. Benedict Cumberbatch, as well, is asleep and in a missile. But will... Oh, the guy with the eyebrows and the pointy ears. His name has completely escapes me. But will Spock be coming back? And will old Spock be coming back? I'm not entirely certain. So that's the big news, and we'll get on with our big chat in just a second. Now, it will surprise no one that I've been playing an awful lot of MechWarrior Online for the last couple of months. In November, I think it was, I found the game. Downloaded it, started playing it, unlocked a couple of mechs, took a bit of a break, and then found out that the Clan Collection was coming. I gave you a bit of a spiel on that last week's podcast, so if you want to go back and check that out, feel free. If you want any more information about MechWarrior Online, the place to go to is www.mwomercs.com. Okay, there you'll get all the background on the game, you'll get a whole lot of stuff. What I'm going to show you today is I'm going to show you what the Clan Collection got you. The Clan Collection is still available for purchase, and the Clan Mechs will be coming as it goes through. The game itself is set in the 31st century. It's actually set in the year 3050 now. Humanity has launched itself to the stars, colonized the nearby galaxy, and as the corporations and as the populace have grown up, warfare is now raging with massive, great walking tanks, otherwise known as battle mechs. Some are very advanced, some are very dated, but these battle mech wars have been raging for something in the region of 600-700 years. During that time, the inner sphere, which makes up Terra, most of the rest of the galaxy, has been divided into various factions called houses. These are noble houses which raise great armies. There are mercenary units, there are lone wolves who are single mech operators. In the time, the battles between the inner sphere houses were particularly bloody and particularly nasty. Nasty enough that a United Nations of sorts was formed, the Star League Defence Force. During that time, there was peace, and then war bubbled up again, and the Star League Defence Force, led by Nicholas Kerensky, departed the Inner Sphere beyond the periphery of the galaxy and founded the clans. There are many different clans, and in 3050 the clans came back to the Inner Sphere to set up a new Star League Defence Force and bring peace to the galaxy once more. That's where we are, and now. Okay, so when you arrive at the game, this is the menu that you're given. It looks like a mech bay on a dropship, and that's because that's precisely what it's supposed to be. If we go up to select mech, here are all the mechs that you've got available. Well, I've got available to me. You only start the game with the 12 trial mechs, which you can take out and see if you like them. Buy them if you do. If you don't, move on. But we're going to start with the light mech. We're going to start with one of my favourites, the Firestarter FS9H. It's one of the variants of the Firestarter. I've got 3. And we're going to make details, and this is what we're carrying. We're carrying 4 jump jets, a whacking great engine in it, and we're also carrying a couple of lasers and a couple of machine guns. So we're going to jump right into a game. I'm going to show you all these mechs on testing grounds. So there won't be any opponents, there won't be anybody shooting back, it'll just be me. And we'll go to a random map and we'll see what comes up. And we've got Tourmaline Desert. And on every loading screen like this we get a tip, which gives us a bit of a helping hand for the various different kinds of game that we're playing. Tourmaline Desert's quite nice, it looks like a huge crystal desert, and here we are inside a battle mech. So it's a real simulation experience. Here's the cockpit, and we've got loads and different bells and whistles on it. But it looks exposed wiring, it looks like exposed pipe work and everything else, because the Inner Sphere mechs are built by nothing and run on a shoestring practically. And I'm showing you this Inner Sphere mech so we can compare the Clan Mechs to it. And because this is a small mech, it's nice and manoeuvrable.
Target acquired.
We've now picked up a target. Our target is popping up on the right hand side. You can see its information. And we've got an atlas. So as we're going through, we'll tackle this particular monster. On the bottom left of my console you can see my damage. Next to that you've got my acceleration. Those are my jump jets. And you can see my map. And next to that you've got my heat. On the right hand side of that you've got all my weapons. So what we're going to do is unload on this medium lasers, and you can see on the top right hand side that the bits that I'm damaging light up, and as I fire lasers at it the different bits glow as they get warmer, and you can see with my weapons down the bottom right hand side that occasionally they'll go green to say that I'm in range, yellow to say that I'm in range but it's not going to do a great deal of damage, and they fade out completely when I'm not in range at all. We'll sneak up behind this atlas. We'll nail it with everything we've got, but look at the size difference between, I barely come up to its shoulder. I'm in a 35-ton mech battling a 100-ton mech. So I'm just going to keep unloading on this thing. I've stripped its external armour from the centre torso. I'm now battling its internals, and once I defeat its internals, I core it, the thing explodes, falls over, I've beaten it. Alright, but it's standing still. Now this Firestarter can shift at about 140 kilometers per hour, and that's with a 295 rated engine. We'll put that engine into a different mech, we'll see what comes out. So we're now going to switch mechs. We're going to go into another Inner Sphere mech. This time we're going to go to the other end of the spectrum. We're going to go to the Atlas. It's a 100-ton mech. That is a monster. Look at it. Into the mech details, we've got long-range missiles, 20 tubes firing at once, a short-range 6 missile, and that an auto cannon. So it's a 20 caliber automatically reloading cannon. It's a beast of a weapon, as you'll find out when we get into this. So we'll go into a random map. This time we're at River City, which is a tiny map for such a big mech, but it should be good. Matches on this map do not last very long at all. It's usually a rush to the middle and suicide. Anyway, so here we go. We're in an atlas. You can see all I'm doing now is just selecting different weapon groups, just adjusting it so that I've got a different mouse button per group so I can fire. But you can see my torso twist is nowhere near as fast as it was in the Firestarter, and neither is my manoeuvrability. I'm in a 100-ton monster of a mech, so this thing is not going to move fast. I've got about the same size engine, and look at my top speed now is about 40 kilometers an hour. I've got targeted in the distance a lovely 2 ppc, 3 ppc mech. I can't exactly see what it is at the moment. It will come into focus. Oh, it's an awesome. So here's the AT-20. Boom. See, it kicks off that thing. And I'll just keep shooting at it until I strip all of its armour away, down to the internals, and I kill it. But you look at how much firepower this thing is carrying. And even look in the distance over the mountain. I'm getting some lightning.
Target acquired.
It's good stuff. This game is unbelievable in its level of detail. And again, we'll now take on this tiny little Centurion. We'll batter it senseless, and we'll move on. But you can see, a big mech requires a lot more propulsion. And now onto the Clan Mechs. Now almost immediately you'll notice the difference. This is the Kit Fox, which looks a little bit like Baron Greenback. I'm actually going to show you the Adder. The Innisphere call this the Puma. There's just a difference in language between the two. So what you're seeing is the clan name. And look at it, it's nice compact mech. It's really small. I call this variant the Noisy Cricket because we've got two ERPPCs. We've got a targeting computer, we've got a double heatsink. And these are hard points. Now this allows me to customize the different weapons. These are energy hard points, so I can only put energy weapons in like lasers. This is an AMS hard point, which allows me some protection from missiles. I can only put certain types of weapons in certain types of places, and it stops me being able to load the thing with missiles in every available space. So into Frozen City. Another nice piece of this is that the environmentals play a great deal of part on how your mech behaves. So ERPPCs generate a lot of heat. Because I'm in a cold environment, it cools the mech down, so I can fire it a lot more often. But just listen to the sound of the engine as it goes. It purrs. It's wonderful. There's my flamer, which I didn't tell you I had, but it's nice.
Target
anyway,
acquired.
let's go take out this tiny little mech. What is it? Centurion? Not a Centurion. A Commando. Sorry. So we're going to nuke this Commando as quickly as we can, but his thermal vision helps me pick out hot things in cold climates. Just listen to it reload. You can tell I'm in a Clan Mech. You can tell just by looking at the HUD, because it's a different colour, I'm in a Clan Mech. When you overheat, you automatically shut down to prevent damage, but I've already damaged myself. You can tell my internals are cooked with the amount of heat. The Clan Mechs just feel a lot more solid, a lot more well built, and you can tell that just by playing, just by imagining yourself in the mech. It really does show through. And again, looking around the cockpit, there are fewer exposed wires, there are fewer exposed pipes. It just feels like a much more solid and cared for machine. So off we go. We should kill this Centurion, this Commando now. It's dead. And then we'll go off and we'll find another target. There's another one, I think that's a Cicada. This one should go down without very little fuss. It also has a Noisy Cricket variant where you can carry 2 PVCs, but look at the collision detection. I mean, you can shoot the PVC straight through the legs and not touch the thing. The attention to detail is amazing. And so next is the second of the two light mechs is the Kit Fox, otherwise known as Allah, which has an aspect of the Baron Greenback around it. Again, we're just going to be looking at the prime variants. There are other variants around, and they'll have different loadouts. Loadouts can be altered, they can be changed, but it depends on what hard points are available. But with the Omni Mechs, you have the option of switching out arms, legs, heads, torsos, for different variants. Now this Kit Fox Prime is loaded with an LBX5, a Clan Streak SRM4, which is it's a lock-on and fire version of an SRM. SRM's a more fire from the hip, and also has a large laser and a small pulse laser. Okay, there are certain things on the mechs that you can't change. Those are static, they are greyed out, as you can see. I don't have an option of lifting those up and moving those around. So in that respect, the Clan Mechs aren't necessarily as flexible as the Inner Sphere mechs, but I think they more than make up for that in terms of sheer firepower, ferocity and raw speed. So we'll get cracking. We are headed for Canyon Network. A Gauss rifle is like, the reason I bring this up is on the gameplay tip, a Gauss rifle is very much like a railgun. And we'll throw more tidbits in like that. So, although we didn't on the adder, we will on this. Let's have a look around the cockpit very quickly. As you can see, the finish is a lot more compact, functional, but it's less ramshackle and less put together on a shoestring as the Inner Sphere were. It feels a lot more solid and a lot more stable. Let's go take out this Jenner. Jenner is a 30-ton mech. It's quite a quick little mech and was one of the first 4 mechs available. So we'll take this on with the 30-ton Kit Fox and we'll see how much nastiness we can do. Now the Kit Fox, this version of the Kit Fox doesn't have jump jets, so we'll find a ramp to go up and then we'll nail this as quickly as we can. That's the LBX5 firing, and you can hear it sounds like a shotgun, and it is slowly stripping away the external armor. You can hear the clanking of it reloading, and then the psh of the lasers, and then that goes down quite nicely. Let's go find something else. I think our next target is going to be a Centurion just around this corner. But look at the detail you get in the animation. You get the shadows, the rippling of the water,
Target acquired,
and everything else. And there he is. There's the next one. There's the Clan Streaks. Off they go. And now we'll hit it with everything else that we've got. And again, just looking at the animations, looking at the way that the missiles fly and how the damage is rendered missed. Hit with that one. And you can see that very, very quickly we can start piling on the damage. Okay? So that's the Kit Fox, the Ullo. We've seen the Adder or Puma. And we'll now step up. We'll now get up to the medium mechs. And we'll start by launching into the cockpit of... what's the first medium mech called? Oh, it's the Nova, otherwise known as the Black Hawk. Okay, so this mech comes with a warning, and that warning is don't fire more than 6 ER medium lasers, or else you'll get a large heat spike. So let's... oh, 12. Oh dear. Okay, now all the weapons are loaded into the arms on a Nova. But as you can see, I've got some heat sinks to balance out the extra heat generated by those lasers. So let's get launched. We'll hit the Canyon Network again, even though it says random. MWO servers tend to load you onto the same map twice in a row. It's a quirk. And so we'll see how well we can do with this. Now there's our cockpit. We're not very far away from where we were last time. If we pull a 180 and head up to the other side, head south from where we currently are, we should find a nice little... oh, there he is, see, look, Centurion. We'll fire 6 ER mediums and zoom in so get a precise shot. There we go, and let's fire the other 6. And he's down. So 2 volleys and a 50-ton mech falls. Now, granted, we hit him on the weaker rear side, but that's still worth it, right? The Nova doesn't move anywhere near as fast. You can see it's quite a small, squat mech. But listen to this, just as we go back into the cockpit. the sound changes. It's little touches like that which make this into a cracking little simulator. There's our Jenna again, so we'll zoom in, we'll try and hit that, but because we're further away, we're not as accurate, we're not able to hit it quite as well. Let's try again. There's my heat warning, and because I've exceeded my heat level, shut down. But no internal damage this time. Not like it was with the adder. Okay.
Heat level critical.
And there, I think we just got rid of an arm. You saw it spark off in the distance, and we've got rid of 2 of the weapons. It's a strategy, or you can go straight for the kill.
Heat level
And there we go. Caught it, killed it. The Nova's a tough little beast. There is another variant which is largely missile based, another one which is a mix of various different weapons. But we'll step into the cockpit of our next medium, which is the Stormcrow, or called the Ryokan. It's not the prettiest of mechs, it's got to be said, with its stubby nose and its mongoloid-like arms. Mongoloid's probably the wrong word to say. It's dragging knuckle dragger arms. And we only have a few weapons compared to the Nova. We've got 5 lasers this time, 2 large, 3 medium, but a whole brace of heat sinks just to try and balance that out. So again, we'll go into a random map, this time Crimson Strait, which is it's like a river delta, and throughout the river delta there's a huge, great amount of city buildings. So it gives you an idea of what the cityscape would be like in the inner sphere in 3050. So here we go, let's toddle off, let's go find something to shoot, since that's what we do in this game. Again, just listen to the background hum of that reactor, and the stomping of the feet, and the whirring of the gyros and servos and everything else. I mean, this game is a must for research if you're writing Space Marines, or even if you wanted to write fan fiction on this stuff. Okay, trying to shoot some cars, doesn't quite work. Destructible scenery is not something they've managed to put in yet. I'm not sure if it's planned, we'll see. And again, no jump jet, so we'll find a ramp to go up and we'll try and find something to shoot. And oh look, there's something, and it's a Centurion again, which is good because I don't like them. And in the distance we've got another mech, but let's concentrate on this one. Let's kill it with lasers. And you can see the difference in colour as well with the inner sphere mechs. The medium lasers were green, not yellow. The small lasers are a more indigo shade of red than ruby red, like they are in inner sphere. And the Centurion is going down, and going down hard and fast. But look at that, even the heat bloom that you get in the torso of your enemy mech is well animated and well represented. I mean, it's a beautiful game.
New target acquired.
Just next to the reticle, you can see there are 6 little icons. Those are your different weapon groups: 1, 2, 3 from top to bottom on the left, then 4, 5, 6 on the right. As you fire each weapon group, without having to look down at your weapons grid, you can then see the next one that's ready to fire by seeing the next one that's blue. Brilliant. And that's the Jägermech that's just dead, which is great because the Jägermech is a 65 ton, 75 ton nightmare of a mech that can carry 2 AC-20s, which is not fun. So that's the medium mechs dealt with. We'll step up to the heavies. First heavy on the ranks will be our Summoner, also called the Thor. There is a 60 ton variant called the Hellbringer, which the Innisphere called Loki, so it's nice to have the Loki and Thor. Here we've got an LRM-20 pod, an LRM-15 pod. We've got an LBX-10, which is the next size up from the LBX-5, and we've got an ERPPC. So let's take this out and see what's happening. Just quickly show you some of the other variants. We've got an almost all missile variant, which is the Summoner B, and then the Summoner D, which is a bit more of a balanced mix between ballistics and lasers. The hardpoint system works quite well, I think, just to keep mechs balanced. You can only put certain types of weapons on certain types of hardpoints. and only certain chassis can carry countermeasures and everything else. So it means that you can't chuck everything on every mech and have the same loadout every time. It forces the player to think more, to think around problems more. It's really well done. River City Night gives us a chance to check out night vision. As you can see, everything rendered in low level greens. And off we go. This is a nice mech, not just because we're carrying 3 fairly hefty weapon systems, but also because we've got jump jets, and jump jets on a 70-ton mech never go astray. Acceleration shorter, a lot slower, top speed's a lot slower, and there's our first candidate for destruction is a commando, so let's hit it with long range missiles. We'll hit it again with long range missiles before we close in and do some nasty damage on it. So let's hit it with a shotgun. Wow, hear that, just the real... Yes. It sounds massive and it sounds huge. And there is actually an LBX 20. And there goes our commando. Onwards to our next target, which is up there. It's an Atlas, which is the 100-ton one you saw me pilot earlier. But look at how it handles the jump jet. The jump jets make the reticle go all squiggly and weird. So that means firing from a jump jet, or what's called pop-tarting, pop-up, fired down, means it's a lot more difficult. And me, because I'm impatient, can't wait for my jump jets to recharge to get up there properly. So I'll just keep firing and firing and firing until this LBX runs dry, which it's about to. 4 shots, and we'll just keep hammering it until we get this Atlas. But you know, this Atlas is 100 tons, and it's taken a hell of a lot to kill it. So you can see why these are so feared. The LRMs are doing nothing. I'm just too close to it. They need a minimum, I think it's 190 meters to arm before they cause any damage.
Fuel at 0%.
And because now I'm out of LBX ammo, let's move up to the next variant, which again is one of the more popular variants in the game. This variant is this chassis is the Timberwolf. And just look at it; it oozes menace. The Timberwolf is also called the Mad Cat. There is a smaller variant, which is the Vulture, which the Innosphere refer to as Mad Dog. It's interesting that the Mad Cat's bigger. Anyway, this carries 2 LRM-20s. We've got 2 large lasers, 2 medium lasers, 2 machine guns, and a medium pulse laser. So this thing is bristling with ammunition. So let's see how it runs on the testing grounds. And where should we go? I think we shall go with another random. We'll go with Frozen City Night, so we can show you the difference. I can show you the difference. There's no we. It's not me and my multiple personalities. Previously we had to use night vision because the visibility was so bad, but this being night is a lot clearer. There's the moon. You can see all the buildings encased in snow and ice. So this is a lovely little map. I absolutely love this map. It's really small by comparison to something like Crimson Strait. And look, you get to see Aurora. There's my target. Let's nuke it. There's 40 LRMs away, and watch them. They just stream in instead of the the Innosphere, which just launched all at once and then hit all as a group. These stream off sequentially and hit the target sequentially. So the damage is rendered over a much longer time. Now let's keep pummeling that thing until it dies. And there's my pulse laser. You get a real and there's my lovely machine guns. You gotta love the sound of those. A real That's what machine guns should sound like. So bye bye Centurion. Nice and quickly out of the picture, and I will go find something else to kill. As I said, these are some of the more popular mechs that are on the battlefield since the Clan Collection was launched a few weeks ago. It's not difficult to see why just the array of weaponry this thing can take means it can fill fire support, it can brawl, it can hunt light mechs, it can take out heavy mechs. It's beautiful. And there's the Jenna gone in seconds. Didn't have to do much to it. We took it on, we killed it. Good job. And so now we get up to the heavy end of the spectrum. So we'll start with our first heavy mech, which is called the Masakari. The Innisphere call it the Masakari, the Clan call it the Warhawk. And look at it, it looks like Ed 209, just with a much bigger head and much tougher. Okay, this time we can only fire 4 PPCs before we overheat. Well, not 4 PPCs, we get a massive heat spike if we fire 2 simultaneously. And we've got 4 of them, so this could be fun. Again, just clue in, the different variants have got different roles. This one is more missile ballistic balanced. The other one is, again, fills a bit more of a brawler role with some lasers, some SRMs, and a nice big LBX. So I'll take the prime out, we'll show you what it does. This time, instead of going on a random training ground, let's show you Alpine Peaks. Alpine Peaks is not one of my favourite maps in terms of multiplayer, and it's because everybody seems to camp up in a particular area, and if you're the right side of the ridge, you're going to win, and if you're coming from the downslope part of the ridge, it's going to be very difficult for you. But I have seen tactically this handled very well. There's Cicada right in front of us. Let's just quickly set up my weapon groups. So I've got 2 PPCs per group and the LRM 10 in a different group. All this is done by the keyboard. This can be done before the match as well. I set up chain fire, so one PPC fires then the other one, and there you can see what the massive heat spike looks like. So it jumps 15% on the first fire, and then it jumps almost 40% on the next. And shut down, and of course my self-damage, so I've really got to watch it with this mech. The Warhawk is a massive lumbering thing. We're talking about an 85-ton mech being driven by a power plant that in a much smaller mech would get me 140 kph. It's squeezing out about 75, 77 kph right now, and it's a much heavier, bigger mech, and you can hear that thrumming in the background. And you just hear how much that reactor is having to work, just that huge, that constant drone. It's really is lovely. Anyway, shut down again. I can be hunting for mechs on this for quite a while because it is quite a big map, but I'm going to dispense with that and we'll go to the next one. Okay, so this is the Direwolf. Straight into the training grounds. This time I'm going to go for... where are you? There you are. We're going to go for Caustic Valley. Now I like Caustic Valley because of the atmospherics. There's a refinery of sorts, and so this thing is hazed with pollution. I'm not going to show you the mech details. Why bother? When you've got that many weapons that it actually scrolls a third of the way up your HUD, why would you even need it? So here's the Cataphract, let's kill it. So launch, there's my LRM 10 gone, and now we'll hit it with my Ultra AC5. It's an auto cannon with a much faster rate of fire, but can occasionally jam up. There's my 2 sets of large lasers and my medium pulse lasers, which you saw earlier. There they go again. A nice wah 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 sound. I mean, just the sound effects alone are enough to inspire story after story after story. And this is 100 tons, where the Warhawk was 85. The Daiichi, the Direwolf, is 100 tons, and so its top speed maxes out around about 50 kilometers per hour. And its acceleration, turn speed, it's a beast. It steers like an absolute cow, but it is so powerful. I mean, this along with the Timberwolf is what's been going on most of the battlefields since the clan launch. You'll notice also, looking at the weapons grid, there are some with a circle next to it, and there are some with a plus. The circle represents the arm weapons, so they will move with the circle that you see on the HUD right now. The cross represents where the torso is pointing, and so if you want to fire a torso weapon at a target, you need to make sure that the cross is pointed at that target. Okay. Now the Daiichi is slightly different. Its arms are locked; they can't move side to side. Whereas you've seen the targeting reticle move in other mechs. This one's just too big. Its arms are fused. So what I'll do is we'll now try and hit this Awesome from range. The Awesome is an 80-ton, usually used as a missile boat, but we'll just try and take it out as quickly as we can. We shut down on the battlefield, and again, this thing is so huge, its momentum carries it those extra steps while it's in the process of shutting down. And again, we'll just keep nailing this thing until it dies. We're through to the internals now, and we'll just keep hammering it with our Ultra AC5, large lasers, just trying to kill it as best we can, and we shut down again. Blown an arm off, you can see the arm rolls down the hill. Brilliant physics. And it's dead. And that's Daiichi. Arguably my favourite mech of them all. And those are the Clan Mechs. So I've shown you the lightest of the mechs with the Firestarter. The Firestarter H. That's one of the lightest Unispheres I've got. I've shown you 35 tons. I've shown you the Direwolf at 100 tons as a Clan Mech. And just to compare that with the Atlas, the Direwolf wins it for me, hands down. But you know, the Atlas is iconic. I mean, it's huge. And that's the Clan Collection, and that's Mech Warrior Online. Thanks for listening, thanks for joining us, and thanks for participating in the experiment. Please join us again next week, and please give us feedback. podcast@50shadesofgeek.org. We will read, and we will get back to you. For now, thank you, tatty bye, and have a great week.